Welcome everybody. My name is Kevin. I am so happy that you joined me. I have a passion for cooking. I also have a passion for spirituality. So this is my first installment of cooking with spirituality. Today I'm going to make a pretty simple chicken salad. It is something that goes over really well for parties. It is one of my family's favorites, and I would love to show you how to make this great dish. It's really simple. A little bit about me first, though. I am not a trained chef, but I love cooking. I've been cooking passionately probably for the last 10 years. I love sharing my food with other people. It is an expression of love for me, and my greatest desire is to love as many people as I can in this lifetime. And one of the ways I do that is by sharing the food that I cook. And I hope that you find that that's also a great mechanism for you to share your love with other people as well. Not everybody considers cooking a passion. Some people think of it as a chore. But that's why this chicken salad is a great dish, because it's so simple to make. I've basically put everything out in my area here. It's actually called, the French word is mise en place, which I believe literally translated means get your shit together. It's always a good idea to sort of prep and create your cooking ingredients and put them in an accessible area before you actually start making a dish. I find that to be very helpful. I'm one of those weird people that loves to chop. It probably speaks to a little bit of my ADHD nature or my OCD nature. And so I love to chop things. I love to chop them into identical shaped pieces. I've done that with some of my ingredients here today. So I consider it a little bit of a meditative exercise when I actually get to chop things. So this is also a great recipe for feeding into that aspect of my being. One thing I would also like to do as I'm getting ready to make a dish is to give some thanks to the plants and animals that have given their energy or their lives to help make this meal what it is. And so by honoring those things, I feel that that's a way that I can inject some of my energy and love into the individual ingredients. But cooking is actually sort of alchemy. You're taking simple ingredients and you're creating this amazing complex structure that's just it's absolutely more than the sum of its parts, and yet each of the parts stands out and contributes to that overall effect. So it's actually better than alchemy. But there's an aspect of magic in cooking and preparing food that I think heightens the experience for me, and I think has at least a chance of doing the same for you. So on to the chicken salad. I'm going to wear my glasses because it helps me with close-up stuff, and I need them. I also like to have music on. I've turned it off in the background here, but I am a fan of 60s, 70s, and 80s rock and roll, and typically I have that playing in the background as I'm cooking because I think music helps to add an energy to the food that I'm making. And I also oftentimes like to have a glass of wine while I cook because I find that heightens my experience and my joy in the cooking process. But today I've done a lot of working out, so I've got just water in this in my Yeti today. So cheers. So chicken salad. Obviously, main ingredient is chicken. What have I done? Well, I bought a rotisserie chicken yesterday, and I picked mostly the white meat off of it, and I put it in the refrigerator. I left the pieces relatively big. I didn't need to feel like I would shred it before making this. What I find is if I make the chicken salad right when I come home from the grocery store, the chicken is warm, and as I'm mixing in all the ingredients, it tends to shred, and so it doesn't have quite the consistency that I like. So I find that by chilling the chicken and then sort of cutting it up after it's had a chance to chill, whether it's 2 hours or overnight, I find it stays together better in the chicken salad. So just a little tip there. It still tastes the same as the chicken that comes right home from the grocery store, but I like to do it this way. I don't know what made me do it in the first place, but it's sort of now the way I do things. So the other ingredients that are going to go into my chicken salad are some chopped celery. This looks like about close to a cup worth. I've got some chopped diced onion, maybe a little less than a cup, but in that neighborhood. I've got some chopped walnuts. I didn't chop these came chopped, so darn it, next time I'm going to get the whole walnut and chop it myself because I love to chop things. I may not use all of this, but this is about a cup also. We've got some dried cranberries. Oftentimes I use the blueberry flavored ones because I like kind of that blueberry-ish taste that goes into the chicken salad, but they didn't have any at the store, so I'm going to use just regular craisins, as they're called, sweetened cranberry, dried cranberry, and of course my chicken. I also have some mayonnaise. I just came off the Whole30 diet where I actually made my own mayonnaise. That's for another video, but today we're going to use Duke's, which I consider to be the best mayonnaise ever made. And we have Poppi seasoning, and I totally ripped this off from Paula Deen. It's a concoction that is made up of 4 parts of salt to 1 part of black pepper to 1 part of oh come on, not ginger. It's not ginger. It's not Marianne. It is garlic powder. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so yeah, 4 sugar. Geez, where am I? 4 parts of salt, 1 part black pepper, 1 part ground. Here I go again. Ground garlic powder. So I'm definitely gonna have to work on that one. But anyway, mix that all up. I use it on everything. I use it on vegetables. I use it on meats. I throw it in just about anything that calls for salt and pepper. I use this particular mixture. Again, it's a Paula Deen recipe, but I've made it my own. My grandfather's name is Poppi, and so hey, I've named it Poppi seasoning, and I give it to all my kids for Christmas. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding this stuff, dry ingredients, into the bowl. By the way, my chef knife happens to be my absolute favorite cutting tool. What I learned was if you do scrape things off a cutting board with your fancy dancy knife, use the back blade, back blade. Don't use the front blade, or you'll wear out the knife. So we'll put that into the bowl. We will next add our celery. Yum. This dish has such a great complex array of textures. The softness of the chicken, the crunchiness of the celery, the chewiness of the craisin, the nutty texture of the nuts, all blended together, and obviously the creaminess of the mayonnaise as well. I don't think in this case I'm going to use all my walnuts here. I'm going to use a lot of them, but not all of them. Okay, so the next step here is to mix this by hand. Why do I say that? Again, when you go to mixing this chicken salad, if you do a lot of that mixing to get all these ingredients combined, you're going to break up the chicken more than maybe you're going to want to. That's another little tip that I learned. So I use my hands, I get it in there, I mix it all in by hand like this. And that just, you're being more gentle with it this way rather than using the spoon. And wipe off my hands. Now I'm going to add the poppy seasoning. You probably want to go light to start with. I put enough sort of to cover the top of the chicken salad. Typically rotisserie chickens are already salted or prepped in some way. I get them plain, but I can still tell the chicken has been seasoned. So you don't want to assume that you've got bland chicken. Assume that chicken's going to add some saltiness to it also. So the poppy seasoning goes in. I'm going to mix that in. All right, perfect. Now I am going to start adding my mayonnaise. This is another thing where you want to start easy. You can always add more mayonnaise. You can't take it out once it's in there. So I'm putting probably to start with about maybe 3/4 of a cup in this size bowl of chicken salad. And because I like to keep my hands sort of clean, now I go to the spoon because I don't want to be mixing the mayonnaise in by hand. It'd be kind of yucky there. So just sort of gently fold in the mayonnaise. And wow, I can tell right away that I'm going to need more. The other thing too is when you look at the amount of chicken that you're starting with, that is not what you're going to end up with in terms of the amount. Because we're adding all these other solid ingredients, you wind up with a healthy amount of chicken salad just from basically 2 chicken breasts from the rotisserie chicken. So we mix this all together, and not sure if you can tell from this mixture yet, but it's still pretty dry, and I don't think that this would be pleasant. It's close, but I feel like I need to add a little bit more. The other thing too is that you'll notice that the leftovers that you put in the fridge, as it sits overnight, it's going to absorb more of the mayonnaise, and so kind of keep that in mind. If you're going to use it right away, whatever the consistency is, you know, when you're done stirring is what you're going to use. But if you're going to store it, you're going to probably want to make it just a little bit wetter. Now, one thing that everybody seems to love about the chicken salad that I prepare is that it's not over mayonnaised. A lot of chicken salads are just cloyingly thick with mayonnaise. Mine isn't that way. So, but it's personal preference, and that leads me to say something else as I'm finishing this up. Make the recipes your own, because especially after you followed the recipe the first time, taste it, sense it. What does it need more of? I'm a sweet guy. I tend to like more craisins in my chicken salad. This salad's got a lot of stuff going on with it, but some people might like an herb to go in it. Thyme would be a good addition. Tarragon would also be a great addition to this. I find that it doesn't need it for my taste. Make it your own. You don't like the onion so much, don't put in as much onion. You're not a big celery person, maybe even leave out the celery if that's your taste. Make it your own. This is Kevin's chicken salad. Make your own chicken salad, and it's going to have more of your energy and more of your love in it if you do make it your own. Try to do that with as many recipes as you possibly can, because you know what? Stuff that tastes good to you is very likely going to be good tasting to the people you're serving it to. All right, so I am finished with this chicken salad. It's ready to go. If I had some croissants, I could put it on that. I just recently thought about possibly putting it on toasted raisin bread. Wouldn't that be interesting? Kind of add another level of sweetness to it. Again, I'm a sweet guy. You could also eat it plain if you're on some type of low-carb diet. This is a great low-carb meal just by itself. My buddy Steve loves to have crunch with things. I could so see him putting this on tortilla chips and eating it. I love potato rolls. That is my absolute go-to. So if I'm serving this to guests, probably getting the little slider potato rolls and putting some on that and serving that. Of course, if I'm trying to be elegant, I'm going the croissant route. But I love potato rolls. I love the softness and the flavor of potato rolls. So I'm going to stop for a second and get this plated, and I'll be right back.